I'd like to start the meeting at 7:05. Do you want me to read the?
Sure.
Okay. This meeting will be held both in person and virtual. This session is being both video and audio recorded. Board members and staff who are joining virtually will generally remain on mute, except when speaking or voting, and will generally be keeping the video of themselves on throughout the meeting. If a member of the public joining virtually creates an audio or video disruption, they will be manually ejected from the meeting upon recommendation of staff or the first selectman. For public input before the meeting, please email your comments to publicinput@columbiact.org within 24 hours before the meeting. If attending virtually, public comments during the meeting can be submitted through the chat feature or wave your hand and request your mic to be unmuted. Please include in both methods your name and address. Let's have a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to approve the agenda. Is there any, I make a motion to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I'd like to approve the minutes of January 18th. I make a motion to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Audience of citizens, anything on chat?
No, chat is empty and public input, we did not receive any.
Okay. And nothing from anybody?
Ann and Lauren, you're all good? And Sue?
Lauren?
Oh, Lauren, let
You
me-
have to unmute Lauren?
Okay, all yours, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren Haberman, 25 Hunt Road. I just wanted to make a comment and I guess kind of ask a question. This is the right time to do it, right?
Sure.
Okay. So I just, so this is about the appointments to the boards or the commissions and committees that are non-elected. So I guess it seems a little bit unclear to me. I was kind of going through the charter. I was reading about the different ones, and what I see outlined in the charter is what each of their purposes are and how many members they consist of. But through my reading, I didn't necessarily see where it spells out exactly how what the procedure is for filling these vacancies. I know there's a section on vacancies and removals, but that pretty much outlines, okay, you know, if there's a vacancy, then it needs to be filled and, you know, appointed. And I mean, I'm sure you know what the charter says, but for reference, I'm looking at section 8.24. But what I don't necessarily see is exactly the procedure for someone to be appointed to that board if they aren't, you know, a member of a political party, you know, say someone that comes in and they're not a member of either of the, you know, either the Republican Town Committee or the Democratic Town Committee, and they wanted to be on a committee or a commission. So something I guess that I'd like to see as a member of the community and as a member of the RTC is a clear outline of the procedure there, and perhaps, you know, a little bit more communication surrounding those as far as, you know, on our town website and I guess, you know, whatever avenue else there may be, but just a little more so that we can make people aware I think it would benefit everyone to, make it well known how these commissions are filled, how these committees are filled, and how people can get involved if they want to be. And that's all I have.
Lauren, my experience has been that it doesn't really matter in terms of the parties, as long as you have somebody either send a letter or an email to the first selectman or to the town administrator expressing an interest on serving on a particular committee. And then it'll come before the Board of Selectmen and we can act at that point in time.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Absolutely.
So I guess in terms of the political party, I was more referencing just the section on, and I have it pulled up here, is if the person vacating of the office shall have been appointed by a member of a political party, then such vacancy shall be filled by the appointment of a member of the same political party. So when I said that, I was more referencing like that specific section. But I think what I've seen, in my personal experience is that the vacancies aren't necessarily made very well known, like when these vacancies happen or when these positions are up for, needing a new appointment. I think that's where the confusion comes in, is because, for me, I'd like to see it a little bit more on display as far as, when these vacancies arise and, say, hey, like we have a vacancy coming up in this board, just in case anybody out there wants to get involved. And then, as the Board of Selectmen, you can look at it and say, make your appointment based on that. But I think just a little bit more transparency would be beneficial to everyone.
Yeah. I would highly recommend, though, if somebody is interested, just to notify either the first selectman or the town administrator. And there's often openings. I mean, we're always looking for people for the various committees. So, if it is full, then we'll let you know. But I would certainly take a proactive approach in terms of just letting us know that somebody is interested.
Okay, thank you.
Lauren, are you saying you want more information on the website about applying?
Like how she wants
Well,
to clear.
let's be honest, let's talk about this past December. We had all those appointments where everything was up for renewal.
Yeah.
But no one knows that. It's not stated anywhere. It's not on the website that, there's all these boards and commissions. There's going to be new members.
A lot of
Yeah.
information saying all these, we even posted every position that was open that we were looking for. But people don't read the website. That's the problem.
But even the charter does not lay out how you get appointed. There is no, I read the charter. It's kind of just absent.
You wrote the charter.
It does not state it. There is a form, because I saw it in today's thing. There's a form you can fill out, available from the town clerk, but who knew? Right? So that's all, I think I find it very ambiguous too. How do you know? Yeah, okay, so their terms are from this to this, but when do they get appointed? How do they get appointed? How do you get on there? It should be an open thing, and new people should be welcomed and be able to find that out without, people don't want to make a phone call. Let's be honest, today, people don't want to make a phone call. They want to go online and they want to click a form.
So how can we make it easy? Because there is information
Well,
on the
we
website.
could build a white paper and answer those types of questions.
Yeah,
'Cause Lauren, just so you know, when we have applications, we send them to the chairman of whatever board has a person applying. And then that chairman reaches out to the person and invites them to a meeting so they can get a feel for what the board does. And then that board normally makes a recommendation back to the Board of Selectmen that they would like to have XYZ person join their committee, and then the Board of Selectmen vote.
But the problem with that, don't you end up with a kind of cronyism on all these committees?
No, the problem is finding people that want to be on
Yeah.
committees. We
Exactly.
don't have a problem of more people wanting to be on committees than we have positions.
Well, part of the problem is there's not real good communication about them even existing.
No, the challenge is everyone 50 and older is
I gotta
involved,
tell you, the
and the younger
Republican Party,
generation doesn't really understand how this whole process
right now,
works.
the RTC has more interest in it than I can't even imagine. I can't even believe how many people are interested.
Well, the
in
RTC
becoming-
did a good job feeding applicants into the system.
Well, and that's part of that was Lauren was really instrumental in that, her and
Okay.
Justin. they did social media, and they continue to do it, and that's what people use to communicate today. And so I think it would help to have a formal way to apply to a commission, to know, okay, at this, let's have a time frame. So if all these commissions are being reformed every 4 years after the election, that should be an open thing where people can go and vie for a seat, I would think. It shouldn't just be an automatic pass that the last person there is the next.
Ann
one.
has a comment.
Oh, thank you, Bill. Ann, go ahead.
I'm chairman of the Conservation Agriculture Committee. I have been on my knees begging people to join that committee. We have just a couple of people, and we could have as many as 7. And I really need some help there. And I would love not to be chairman of that. But
There you go, Lauren.
I'm holding it up. Yet the Open Space Committee is up and running. It's been going full steam, fully. And that's the committee that, we were forced to change personnel there. What's wrong with the Conservation Commission?
And Lauren, wait 1 second.
We need people there.
Thank you, Ann.
I think one of the points I'm getting from Lauren and Ann to saying, I think they want advertisement that every time there's gonna be basically a change over the boards or commission or somebody's resigned, that things need to go out to the town versus with a newsletter, the views, email, or put on the website, even an article in the Chronicle, just saying, these are the boards we have openings for, we need people, and who and how to contact if you're interested. I think that's not always being done regularly,
So how
so.
many, what did we do, Jen, to try to, before this whole election?
We've had it several times in the newsletter, in Columbia Views.
I see.
All the positions that were open, where we had holes.
Last time you did it the last-
Yeah, we've done it a couple
I
of
think we've even
times.
shot it out.
And when we post the newsletter, I post it on Everything Columbia as well. But,
You have to read it.
You have to read it.
And the problem is, nobody goes to the website normally. They wait for things to hit their phone now.
Yeah, so it's definitely a social media thing.
But Lauren, we understand that it's not crystal clear, because I even had to have legal counsel actually explain clearly that the final decision maker of the board and commission is the Board of Selectmen of appointed boards. And elected boards, whatever party you were, that party has the first shot to refill that position in the first 90 days.
Okay, so we'll kind of relook at what we're doing. People should know what's out there, and I think it is hard, but you put it in the View, you put it in your newsletter, and I have seen it in the Chronicle.
Even the parties should be.
Yeah, because the parties are.
But a lot of people now are unaffiliated, so they're not
And
a
that's
party.
absolutely true.
So Lauren's correct. Some people are non-party,
Right.
but if you're an independent, that is a party. The Green Party is a party. Republicans, Democrats, those are parties.
Unaffiliated.
Most are.
But unaffiliated
Is
is
the
not a
largest,
party.
is the largest.
Maybe we've got to somehow spell it out, just how
Yeah,
to do it,
we
have
can work on
just
that.
steps,
we can do sort
do
of
some
a,
steps.
You
And
have this wonderful little form.
and figure out where to put it.
It's a
Yeah,
great form,
Or
so
put it-
that should be an easy access.
yeah, we can make sort of a campaign, a standalone, because
Yeah.
it has been in other, like I said, other communications, but maybe because it's so
it might
buried.
be buried.
They have to mail
So
it
we
to a
could-
mailer. That's all. You can spend the money on a mailer. That's all.
Right.
So I think it's important, and we'll work on
But
it.
I would think that the ad commission should get more notice, because there's so much more interest in farming and gardening and agriculture these days, so wouldn't be a bad thing to put that one out.
But we'll work on it and get back to you on what, how are we gonna do it different.
Can you, Jen, send Stephen the Zoom link? Okay,
The, okay, the new business, town administrator. We don't have any old business, so new business.
okay.
You're gonna present the budget. Highlights of the budget.
The new business, okay, so first, some good news. First piece of paper on your file is the grand list was just delivered to me by our town assessor. And real estate, we had 7 new homes count towards this new grand list. And the increase of the value of our homes was 16.84%. Or that equals an increase of 71,319,000. And then motor vehicle had a 17.78% increase. We had 34 new vehicles. And all the towns in the state had significant increases in car values just because across the board, the blue book values of automobiles have gone up.
Right.
And then personal property went up 2.73%, mostly due to purchasing new things. So the percent increase over real estate, personal property, and motor vehicles combined is 16.58%, or an increased assessed value of $83,188,251.
Wow.
So in general, that'll be up to 5-pack as to what to do with the mill rate, but normally with an increase of that size, the mill rate will probably be going down.
So this is based on, this isn't reval.
No.
This is the reval. This is the year that the reval came in.
I thought this, is this based on the October grand list? Would this be the October 1st grand list and the reval didn't come in until
It's based on
November?
the October 1st, 2021 grand list.
Right,
And that was,
but the reval, I didn't think the reval was completed until
It's
like
completed.
after this, after October.
it was
1st.
just complete.
So,
So the reval is not done. This could be adjusted by people coming into go to zoning board of appeals or BAA, Board of Assessment Appeals. So they have the right to first go to the company and say, I don't agree with my valuation, or then go to BAA, and finally they can go to the assessor.
Hey, Mark, I'm on. I apologize.
Hi, Stephen.
Hi, Steve.
So Judy kicked us off. We got through, we're now in new business, 7.1. We've done audience and citizens, and
Okay.
we've approved the agenda in the minutes, and now we're just talking about the grand list.
You want to take over?
No,
Okay.
Okay. So.
Do
okay,
we-
so this-
do we have a quorum now?
Yes,
Now we do.
yes, we
no, we
did.
did. We had a
We
quorum.
had a
when we were-
quorum before.
Oh, there you are. Okay, Bill, I didn't see you on the, there you go. I'm sorry.
What?
I was looking at the tables.
Sure, it's not mine.
Okay, so with the, so this does include the.
This is the
reevaluation.
reval,
Okay.
and that's why you have such an increase. A normal grand list growth might be 2% or
Right,
1.5%. The only way you get to a 16.58% is looking at the value of everything. Correct.
I didn't think that was coming out this year. Okay, so that is with the reval.
Yes. And if you have specific questions about the revow, I could bring.
So how
Mary.
long do people have to?
We just put it out in the newsletter. I think the deadline is coming up to make an appointment.
Wasn't it December? There was some deadline in
There
December.
was a deadline to make an appointment with the company, but they had some mailing problems
Oh,
of the mail actually getting to the people to notify.
Well, I'm just wondering how long before we actually have a hard fast number.
Are you looking that up? Jim?
Yes.
Hold on.
Let's see. It just says we cannot accept paperwork before February 1st. If you have any questions, contact 228-9555.
You're right. You
Start
can't-
accepting applications as of February 1st.
So today was the first day you could apply for an appointment to review your new appraisal.
when's the last date, does it say?
The last date of,
When
It's
you
the
can
deadline,
apply,
when
the
it's
deadline of when.
cut off.
Yeah,
So you can't start till February 1st.
right,
When's it end? Does it say?
doesn't say.
Okay.
sometimes.
It's right. Let's see. Window to values to the next grand list. That's it.
All right, so if there's, anybody has questions, call Mary.
Okay.
She'll be in tomorrow. That's your best bet. Start with the assessor.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the new assessment anymore? Okay, next is the draft of the budget. It looks like this. Lisa. So right now, we're looking at, with just the first pass, with the increases of 3.25% increase in the board of selectmen operating budget. 3.25, and that doesn't take into fact any consideration of cost of living or salary adjustments for the employees. And if you look, right now you see a pink column, which is the proposed expenditures. Or maybe yours isn't pink.
Mine is not.
Mine's pink. So proposed expenditures.
Okay,
Proposed expenditure.
22,
Okay,
23.
Right, so that is the budget. And then if you look to the right of it, that's variances.
Mhm.
So you'll see the first big variance is group insurance. And that's because we've had new hires and changes in enrollment. And we were pretty tight with how many changes we thought there'd be on the last budget. So that shows an increase in benefit costs. And then if you jump down to information technology, the next big increase is $4,000 for Novus, our IT department. And that's mainly due to the increased cyber training. The fees have gone up, and we're moving all of our services off of our servers to the cloud.
Okay.
So our servers are all bogging down in the roll. So we're using the cloud as our storage for our data with the town. And Novus backs that up.
So there's a physical backup at
Right.
Novus. That's good to know. I feel better.
And then the next page 6 really doesn't have any increases at all. 7 nominal for legal notices. Well, postage is gone up. $820. And if you jump to
Professional checker.
financial planning and auditing on page 8. It went down because we do not have to do the gas fee this year. I mean,
It's a full valuation report. There's 2 reports and we don't have to do the big one next year. It's the full disclosure, full valuation report. We do an annual disclosure report.
So no Gatsby, which was the big cost.
There is a Gatsby report. There's 2 of them. This is the big full valuation. It's every other year. There's a disclosure report we do annually, and then there's a full valuation.
So that's the audit report?
No, it's an actuarial report about post-employment benefits and stuff.
Okay.
That's required of Gatsby, the county principals. They're kind of, you have to do it. And the audit report, I'm just waiting. There's an increase in there. I'm waiting for them to give me the full quote on that.
Okay.
And this also includes the library, which is a discussion point. Of course, I want to do it next year.
All right, and then we're still waiting down on page 9 for the quote for police protection, but our officers at his highest step, so we don't expect a big increase. Hopefully it'll stay the same, or somewhere near that. And the firefighters, really, there's a pretty big increase in the firefighters, and a lot of that is due to their increased expense in advertising and promoting for volunteers, and their small stipends that they do for their officers and their volunteers based on their calls and hitting all their quotas. So that's gone up some. They're trying to keep it a full volunteer force.
They're doing a good job.
And when we get to their report, they're really concerned coming at the year 2025-26 that those might need some professional hired staff to help supplement. So we'll talk about that. And then if you look at page 11, our waste disposal costs have gone up almost $6,000, but that's a contracted increase with Willie Waste, which now just got bought out. But our contract still holds. Luckily, some towns, the contracts expired, seeing much bigger increases.
Next question.
Yeah.
On social services, you had said, were you going to increase Katie's time?
What I'll do is discuss that when we discuss actual positions.
Okay.
So normally in another workshop, we'll discuss the different departments and the structure of their employees and recommendations there.
Got it.
So I'll hold on that.
Probably executive session.
Right,
Executive session.
right, that would be exactly what I'm talking about, employees. If we make any decisions, that would be public. Public Works, there was a big decrease in Public Works and then an increase in rec. We transferred some of the expenses from Public Works to Recreation, and that was the mulch for the playgrounds and what else?
Court repair.
Court repair. So we're putting that under the rec department. And really, the library services on page 13 had a big increase at 18,000. I think almost 16,000 of that increase was increased costs for their cleaning services. And it was a large increase. So they've asked if we have any recommendations. I didn't have any to give them immediately, but
Who cleans here?
we hire Sharon, who's the wife of Harold, who used to clean. So Harold,
Does she want to do the library too?
no, we've asked her. She's got enough handling all these buildings. And finally, let's see, the rec department, I talked about that. Also,
What happened to the people that were cleaning? Before.
I think it's the same contract, they just raised the prices.
Well, she just said they went out to bid, so.
They went to bid and they hired a low bidder, and it was more than what they were paying.
No, that's too
That, anything to add?
bad.
Okay, so then finally on page 15. We'll have, I've been working on a regional agreement and it's coming along good with Hebron. Right now, I've asked East Haddam if we can continue using their vehicles to get us through the 6 months. I haven't gotten an answer back yet. And I found a vehicle if we have to buy one. And Andy Tierney is willing to go with me to the municipal lot and the Yukon lot. He said sometimes you can get really great deals there as well. So we're still exploring our options. And we have a team that is doing real well, handling the calls. They're just more expensive than what we had before. But it's full coverage around the clock. So there's three part-timers that share the night shifts and one full-timer that does the day shift and manages the operation. Michael's active. So that's the operating budget at this moment. And a lot of it will keep developing. I know we have to, our oil, we didn't actually lock in until August of last year when it expired because the prices were so high, we were waiting for it to come down to lock in.
I never did.
And then, here they're up again, so.
So, yeah, so there's gonna be an adjustment because this year's budget is based on the old contracted price, which is 20 cents less. So there'll probably be some transfers this year for fuel and a few other items. And then, so we're gonna have to adjust the budget because we think they possibly, some of them put it at the old rate. So we'll have to, I'm gonna be reviewing that in the next week.
Yeah. I think fuel's not coming down anytime soon.
No, it doesn't seem like.
No, I know.
No, I think it's gonna creep up again, actually.
All right, and the next big form is the fire department's 20-year plan. So the good thing is, the fire department's made a list of all their equipment, their vehicles, and all their capital equipment. And in the vehicles, they start out with the date the vehicle was purchased, and when the year they feel that vehicle will need to be replaced. And the cost estimate of replacing the vehicle. So fiscal year 2023, what they did was they took that, if you look at squad 105 fire engine, they feel in 2047, it'll be $1 million to replace that engine. So they took 2047 minus 2022, and that came out to 40,000 a year. If we put away 40,000 a year, we'll have $1 million by 2047. So that's just a straight line savings plan for each vehicle. Now, what that doesn't take into consideration is like the forestry 105. We've applied for a grant for that. And down under equipment and tools, the air bottles, air breathing system, we've applied for a grant with that. So if we've got the air bottle grant for 250,000, and if we got the forestry grant for 100,000, that'd be 350,000 we could take off this budget. Plus at a future time, one of these engines, there might be a grant. I know, I think Chaplain just got a grant for an engine, one town out there. So
they're asking for 391,000.
391, if Board of Selectmen and 5-pack agree to just straight line budget this way.
And what did they ask for last year? Is it?
No,
Last year, we didn't budget anything because it was the rescue truck.
Yeah.
And we the next installment, we did an extra town meeting to cover the cost of the deposit. There's still, if you go farther down, there's still about 90,000 left, but we're waiting to see how much interest they earn on the money on the down payment plus sale of the old truck. And then there may or may not be a balance to pay, so that's all.
It should be here somewhere.
If you look all the way at the very bottom, you'll see the EMS staffing. And we have not gone out to quote, this is just the fire department's stab at what they think it would cost to get supplemental staffing. I imagine an agency, but we haven't gone into details, but you can see it's $500,000 a
Do
year.
they do an agency or do you do like, Hebron doesn't pay maintainers, right?
There's all different ways. Some towns do some full-time, which,
I think this is supposed to be a hired staff, the projection of hired staff, isn't it?
well, you'd have to look at that, because hired staff is tough, because when hired staff gets sick or goes on vacation, how do you fill in for them? And if you have an agency, it's the agency's problem to make sure that ambulance is staffed and waiting. So some towns hire an agency to have an
Do you know what
ambulance.
this was?
No, I don't.
Hmm.
And you'd have to do a serious RFP and really look at it before we decide what the best route is.
But you're right, the agency, you probably pay more with an agency. But you always have somebody that will be there.
Well, I mean, even with, it would be worth doing an analysis.
Oh, you'd have to.
Yeah.
And it looks like,
I see the benefits of both, because usually the paid maintainers are local people who live in town who have a lot of buy-in. They usually volunteer too. So from all the paid maintainers I've known, so.
well, the good thing is that they have been hiring more young recruits, or not hiring, but more volunteers have been coming on. that
Oh,
are
that's
younger.
awesome.
So their campaign is.
They are campaigning, and they do need more money to outfit the new people with their turnout gear
It ain't
and
cheap.
to send them to school and train them,
Get the physicals.
men and women, yeah.
Yeah.
So all that is working, they're just concerned, I think this 25-26 date might be when a lot of their members might be retiring. Because you lose 3 people that run every day, and that's a big loss. All right, so we'll be spending some more time with this, and we can even, after my presentation of the highlights, we can decide what agencies you want to come in to ask more questions. Like Public Works, Fire Department. We'll work on that. And then this next one, it does have pink.
This one has pink.
So this is your capital budget and capital reserve fund plan for the town. Of all our capital projects we talk about every year, some new ones. And you can see the jump, it went from 611,000 last year because we cut out all vehicles and things that might work with American Recovery Funds that we knew were coming. And this 1,855,000 for this year is the entire wish list. The next thing we'll talk about is some possibilities for American Rescue Plan that could cut this way back. This also includes, like in the fire department, it's the full 567,000 they're asking for in capital,
Right.
which is capital and equipment. But some of that might be, we might win the 2 grants that we're hoping for, so that would immediately go down.
So when will we know about the grants?
That's the problem, right? It's just a huge window of between April and
Sometime in the summer, I heard there's like, they'll do a first round,
April
second
and August.
round, third round of awards, so it could not, we may not know until the summer.
So we won't know before we have to make a decision on
It
the budget.
depends on how fast they decide each
like,
year.
if we were in the early round of it, maybe,
Okay.
but my guess is we won't know.
Okay. Good
Early
to
rounds go to cities.
What's that?
Early rounds go to cities.
Now,
Yeah, they think the other guy needs to.
I included the detail of every one of these capital items in the normal printout you used to see. And Bill, all this is waiting here if you want to swing by and grab it. You can print everything out. And we'll have a full set for Christmas as well. But
So we don't know, well, do you know which ones would, could be paid for under the American Rescue?
so if you go to the last piece of paper, it's called American Relief Funds. So what you'll see is that we were allocated, after we get our second allocation in June of this year, we'll receive $1,120,836.
Oh, that's the balance.
Oh, that's the balance after we've already taken out 471,000, correct.
So it's $1 million.
What we'll have left to spend after we've already allocated 471 is $1,120,000, because we got $1,600,000.
Okay.
So we have $1,100,000 to spend. And the first column is what we've already approved. The second column is potential items that are just right off the bat, a recommendation to consider. But you can see the second column is $1,200,000, which is a little more than what we have. But we can't get a quote on the Moores Indian School for lead abatement. So that's just a bookmark, that 150,000, we're hoping it'll be less. And this includes the 250,000 fire department and the 50,000 for the forestry 105.
Are we putting in, are we wanting to put in an additional tennis court?
Well, that's just, the tennis court we have right now is failing.
Oh, I thought we had resurfaced.
We did, it didn't work, it didn't hold. So we got a big crack down the center again already.
Wow.
So it needs.
It needs a new base.
So you gotta tear the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Next thing.
So the water's going under and lifting it.
We can't just put a curtain ring or something around the outside to draw the water away.
We have put drainage to do that, and it's not enough. So that'll be,
You need to totally start from scratch.
you know, another pickleball court is been actively requested by people to play. They like to come and do little tournaments with 2 courts. Now, if we did do the tennis court, we would paint lines for a second pickleball court. So it's a nice to have, it's not a must have at this moment. But it would pretty much complete Rec Park then.
Okay.
So to get into a lot more detail, we're gonna have another workshop. Who would you like me to invite in to the next meeting?
Let's start with the fire department.
Or fire department.
Okay,
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the two, one or the other.
And the library.
fire department, library in the next meeting. And then in the following, we want to do DPW and facilities.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
That's so the February 15th will be DPW and.
facilities.
For most
That's
of
the
the
regular
monies.
board of selectmen meeting too.
Yeah, but not gonna have a lot of
Yeah,
time
Yeah, so that'll be a regular meeting with the board budget.
for the budget workshop.
Yeah. So the most of the expenditures is really the fire department for the public works.
Right, fire department and public works.
There's not a lot of other stuff.
Facilities, not really, it's not that
So it's
much.
up to you if you want to include them, or you want to talk about the annex and that stuff.
We'll include it in case there's any questions specific to Murphy House or the DPW annex. those facilities would be helping build that.
Is there any need to have Bernadette come in? Or I mean, to look like she had a big increase?
No,
There's not a big
hers
increase
was
here.
pretty much status quo,
Yeah.
just
Is there any other-
tweaking.
There's no big increases. I mean, yeah, I think those, from what I can tell.
Okay, Stephen, did you have anything?
You're
Are
you're on mute.
Hold on.
Yes,
How's that?
Good.
That's
good.
So I sat with Mark and went through the fire department. I sat with Mark and went through the DPW. So I know, I can see where they're expecting. I mean, they're looking at $190,000 for a truck. A year and a half ago is now $240,000. Inflation and cost of doing business and just the way things gone. So, I mean, I understand the numbers. I don't like them, but I do think some of the items that are on the American Rescue Plan, some different things that we haven't even talked about for the town yet, I think we can pull together with everything that I understand so far, and we will put out to you in a more specific financial report, such as the general fund and, what we're looking at, the grand list and all that when it shakes loose. I still think Columbia is going to be fine, meet the needs for the citizens. As much as I hate the fact that, we're printing more money in the government, Columbia is going to get their share and we're going to use it wisely, and we're going to put together different safety issues and quality of life. And I think that Columbia is going to come out of this just fine. But certainly have your questions ready. Take a look at that reports that Mark and Bev have put before you, and come with your questions when the respective departments come and sit down in front of you. But, I truly believe we're going to be fine.
All right, so,
Then, okay, so we've chosen who's which department, which town department to be invited.
great.
So we've done with new business, you have anything else? Mark?
Well, let me just check. Discussion regarding town clerks from invited. We did that. No,
Okay.
now we're on to appointments.
Or Columbia Lake.
Cumberland Lake Beach, you're right.
Approval for Christine and Christopher Bush for the replacement of a dock at 22B Lake Road. Any discussion?
Here, I have, get me a motion.
Are they going to get that in time, Mark? I didn't see this on the agenda when we went over it Friday.
Will they? I hope.
I bet they hope too.
I mean, we're gonna make a motion right now.
I move to approve the application for Christine and Christopher Bush for the replacement of a dock at 22B Lake Road per the recommendations and conditions as determined by LMAC. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
And the next one is William Lift. I move to approve the application for William Lift for the replacement of a seawall at 50 Erdoney Road per the recommendations and conditions as determined by LMAC. Any discussion?
They're going to get that done in time?
Well, they're both going to wetlands and the lake is still down.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
The next is appointments and resignations. I move, did you want to go over what happened with planning and zoning and what we're doing?
Yeah, I could give a quick
Yeah.
summary. What happened was John Peterson, actually, Preston, thank you, Beth. John Preston, he goes by Larry,
Yes.
was presently a full-time member of the position from October 2020 to November 2022. And he won a alternate position, which starts November 2021 and runs to November 2023. And Justin
Randu.
Randu. Justin's position expired on 2021. And his new position doesn't start until November 2022. So to solve this, both Justin and John got together and talked with Rick Nassif, the chairman, and also the RTC has weighed in and agreed with their solution that John has offered to step down from his full-time position, let Justin fill it in, and then John will remain as in his alternate position that he wants. So it's a swapping, but it solves John.
And with the
Having-
change in the charter, this time, this shouldn't happen again.
Right, so we modified the charter to stop having these staggered elections that don't start for a year.
Right,
But it's gonna take a few years for that to kick in.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
I move that we accept the, I move that we accept the resignation of Larry Preston from Planning and Zoning Commission, and we approve the appointment of Justin Rindo to Planning and Zoning Commission.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
That's easy. Appointment discussion for Kona. Joanne Craig Doyle has asked to be appointed to the Commission on Aging for a term ending 11/24/25. So I move to approve Joanne Craig Doyle to the Commission on Aging for a term ending 11/24/25. Any discussion?
Isn't Joanne Geyer also?
Joan Dyer pulled her application off. So she decided she did not want to run. So you have just Joanne Craig Doyle in this morning.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that unanimous?
Yeah. I think so.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, now town administrator report.
COVID-19 is still consuming us. It's luckily Collin County is still the least affected county
No.
in the state, but you know, we get our notification that schools are still.
So these numbers don't work, right? I know that I'm not in there.
in where-
Both Rich and I had COVID. We
Well, what's
tested.
happening is they're not contact tracing anymore. So if you self-diagnose at home with a test,
Mhm.
nobody knows that.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. I
You're
mean,
correct.
they're not asking you to
They're
report.
probably underestimating.
This is way down. I know so many people who have had positive home tests for
Right.
COVID. It's not fun. I
Right.
know a lot of them.
So I think where this is heading from talking to the health department is that by the time we get through winter, this peak will have gone by. It's already starting to go way down. After January was the worst. And we're hoping that they'll focus mainly on treating those that are sick with drugs that come out that can help you and we wish everybody good luck and
That's all.
get back to life. So that's my plan.
I like that plan.
I think enough.
And the ARPA update, just some good news. We got confirmation. Bev reached out to Joe Courtney's office and the grant expert. Plus I reached out to CCM and our legal counsel. All came back with the same thing, that they've given all towns a minimum of $10 million revenue loss, whether you had any revenue loss or not. They're considering you did. So if your ARPA money's under 10 million and it's something you would normally spend on your municipal budget, it's allowed.
Oh, wow. That sure does open things up. doesn't it?
So that allowed this report I gave you showing everything is much easier than being constricted by the 3 categories they originally had. So that's all good news. We've already done the reval and the ROQ program. That program was started by our senior center, and what they're doing is they're doing weekly telephone calls, reaching out to people to see if they're in need of energy or fuel assistance, food pantry, if they need masks or kits, if they need a social worker to call them. So they're trying to shore up their list. They got to a rocky start because the list was started as the Columbia senior organization list, but it wasn't scrubbed first. So we're doing that now. Some people have moved, some people have passed. So we'll get that fixed next. And I think this program should work well to uncover people. What they're finding is a lot of people, due to COVID and being isolated to the degree we've been, are not as sharp. They haven't been taking care of themselves and they're having some tough times. So we're hoping this program will help a lot.
I think it will.
That's all I have.
There's correspondence, people can look at that. On the budget, I guess there's no transfers and refunds. I move to approve refunds totaling $6,781.33. Any discussion on those or any questions? All those in favor?
All right,
And
What is the,
then the payment of bills.
paying of the bills?
So that's on the second page.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
I move to approve the payment of bills totaling $80,827.65, consisting of 2122 emergency and 2122 regular credit card and paychecks. Any discussion, any questions?
How's the water testing, quarterly water testing, everything comes out okay? We have really good water.
I haven't heard, we haven't had any failures. That's when I.
We have such good water.
Okay.
I was curious about that.
Let's
We've
move
never
on.
had a feeling that's good.
The pump was $4,000 for a pump. JCP pump.
JCB pump, that's one of the public works vehicles.
Oh, yes, that was a hydraulic
Got it.
pump. It's an expensive pump
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
on the motor.
22,000 is our insurance, health insurance. Which
That's
is-
a monthly.
Monthly payment.
Medical, that's the medical. That's the monthly medical.
And the tax refunds for 6,000. Okay. Any other questions? All those in favor?
all right.
Audience of citizens, any other questions?
There's nothing in the chat.
I guess we,
I don't see any hands.
do we need executive session?
No.
Okay. So I move we adjourn the meeting.
Oh, wait, any board members? have anything?
Oh, any board members forgot that.
Yeah, I have a comment. I was out on the road on Saturday night, had to travel up to Yukon, travel through Columbia and Coventry and Mansfield. I want to commend the Columbia road crew for the fine job. Everything else was a mess, and Columbia's roads were clean, so they did a fine job and they should be commended.
Thank you.
I'll make sure they know that.
No. That was an awful storm. Lasted too long. Although,
Hey, Judy,
yeah,
just today, I attended the services for Dean Topher. I don't know if we mentioned anything, but certainly everybody keep him and his family in your prayers. I will tell you that for an hour and a half, I listened to 6 grandchildren, a son-in-law, a couple of neighbors talk about this man who apparently I did not know very well. I knew everything he sacrificed for the town, what he put in, what he gave to the people of this town. And his family was just wonderful in the words they had to say for him. And all I could think of was, if everybody gave 1% of the kindness and the service to others that Dean Topher did, boy, this world would be a hell of a lot better place, let me tell you, because it was absolutely remarkable to hear the things that people said about him and the things that I already knew, what he gave the town of Columbia. He will be sorely missed, and I just want to put that out there.
Thank you. It was a good guy.
It was very, I was there too. I was on the other side. But it was wonderful. I totally agree.
I don't know if the board knows, but Dean was the main contact for the Lions to the town, so he and I would meet all the time. Just going over what the Lions' goals were and how they want to help the town, and it was great. He always lightened up the whole office when he came in. He was probably one of the nicest gentlemen you'll ever have met.
Yeah, nice man. Well, he will be missed.
Thank you.
All those in favor of ending the meeting?
At
At
8:05.
Not
I-
bad, Jude.
I was gonna say 8:10, I don't know why. 8:05.
Hope you feel better, Stephen.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, thank Bill.
I know.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
Diane. Thanks, Sue. Like John Boy.
I know, it does, doesn't it?
Thanks, John.
Well, that was